Disciplining your stepkids. I guess it depends how long you've been in a relationship with the person with those children, but it's always a bit of a spicy topic. G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee and welcome back to another episode of trying to teach your future stepchildren a little discipline. It's Am I the Arsehole? But anyway, if you love this, sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the Barbie and get ready for it. It's gonna be interesting. Am I the arsehole for trying to teach my future stepchildren a little discipline? So I'm 46 male and engaged to 41 female. She has 2 kids, 15 female and 11 male, from a previous marriage. She raised them largely on her own, and they're great kids, and I love them as my own. However, she has most definitely spoiled the hell out of them. She gives them everything they want, and as I have been slowly finding out in the last few years, she's basically done everything for them for their entire lives. They've never been given the slightest bit of responsibility, and they are both very lazy. But they both constantly have their hands out, looking for someone to give them something. I was raised very differently. Not in a strict household, but a single-parent household with mum. My siblings and I were taught early on about responsibility and basic life lessons. We did without, which made us appreciate what we had. I have been slowly trying to burn it into their brains that they are not babies, and that they need to pick up around the house without having to be constantly told to do so. If you want something, earn it by doing chores. My fiancé gives me a ton of blowback about this. She doesn't see why I get so upset when they won't get off their butts. I'm trying to teach them self-sufficiency, and she tells me I'm being an asshole and am being too hard on them. So, what do you say? Am I the asshole? And let me clarify a bit. We talked about these things before moving in together, yes. It was agreed that we would both work together with regard to how we would handle the kids. I asked her point blank if she would be okay with me imposing a little bit more of a direct approach to letting them know that they'd have to pitch in around the house and help us out. She was 100% on board. And also, she said she expected me to act as her equal as far as parenting went. That was her idea, not mine. I told her from the very beginning that I would never ever intentionally overstep her boundaries as their mother. I had no problem sharing the parenting, and I still don't. I'm not a hard ass, I'm actually very, very laid back, but when I'm asked to parent these kids, and I see them being lazy, unmotivated, and flat out disrespectful, I feel it's my job to try and change that. The issue is that she agreed to let me use my own approach, but she's struggling with seeing it in action. It sounded good to her in theory, but now she's balking at it, and I feel kind of like I'm trapped in a minefield. I'm not sure which way to step without risking an explosion. Now in the comments, Nox Wild says, quote, I love them as my own. Nothing in your post indicates you even like these children. You say they're lazy, selfish, demanding, and irresponsible. You criticize them because they weren't raised the way your superior parents raised you into a superior person. You criticize your fiancé for not agreeing that her kids are such objectionable people. If you dislike her kids and her child raising this much, perhaps you should reconsider marriage. Don't live with or marry someone with the expectation that their children will remodel themselves according to your standards. You may believe that you love them as your own, but you shouldn't think that gives you any right to expect they will love you or even respect you. To them, you might just be mum's annoying boyfriend. You're the asshole. And OP replies, if I didn't like them, would I be here asking for opinions from total strangers in an effort to remedy the situation? Yeah. Swing and a miss on your part. Nox Wild is spot on with their comment about how you come across, and you certainly do not seem to have come here to remedy the situation. You combating the judgments only gives the impression that you came here to be validated and are upset that no one agrees. Please explain how calling children lazy, selfish, demanding, and irresponsible is loving again. I feel so bad for your family if you would think this kind of resentment is normal and okay. And edit to add, asking total strangers who you don't have to be held accountable to and have zero consequences if you don't listen to in any way, is not some flex showing that you care. Showing that you care would be taking some responsibility to communicate, apologize, and work to find compromise in your real life. And OP replies to that, absolutely am not looking for validation, not even close. Also, I don't think I've been combative at all, shy of giving a bit of snark back to those who gave it to me first. You do know that there is such a thing as tough love, right? There is no easy way to step into this situation, as anyone who has ever tried will attest. Calling them spoiled doesn't mean I don't love them. They freely admit that they're spoiled. They know it. They own up to it. But thanks for the input. I appreciate it. Tough love usually means that you're a dick to kids. And OP replies to that, if trying to teach kids simple lessons like doing chores and carrying a few very simple, easy to understand responsibilities makes someone a dick, then just call me Richard going forward. Teaching kids this stuff, believe it or not, is vital. They'll have to learn eventually. Most, if not all, childcare professionals agree that getting this stuff into their heads while they're young is far easier than it would be as young adults. They aren't going to learn it at school. It's a parent's job, and seeing as how their mother not only asked me to take on a parental role, but now expects it, means it's part of my job to teach them things like this. It's the job of all parents. It's common sense 101. If they're not prepared to go out into the world with this most basic knowledge, the world is going to knock them backwards over and over again. I don't want that to happen. Look, your goal is correct. Your approach is extremely poor, badly researched, poorly executed, and badly communicated. You do understand they don't owe you parental respect. You seem to be jumping the gun and assuming that because your lesson's goal is positive, they ought to fall in and listen and mind you. But you've not earned their respect as a parent. All you'll have is pushback and resentment. Because know this, they don't just know that you don't like their mannerisms, they see your gruff time-to-learn stance as an insult to their entire lives, their mum, their household, and their memories. Wrong, says you, and they push back. Did you do any reading with recent sources on blending a family? There is also a huge difference between, hey, let's do this laundry together because you're going to need to learn how to do this for when you move out, and you need to start doing your own laundry, you lazy, spoiled child. Our next post is by user AncientGoat7426, titled, Am I the asshole for asking my partner to wear a bra at my parents' place? So my partner, 31 female, is from California. I, 33 male, am originally from Turkey. We've met while studying together in Europe, and a couple of years ago we got married and moved to her hometown. Since the pandemic hit, we never got to visit my family, and we've recently managed to make it there and stay with them for a couple of weeks. I come from what I always considered an open, secular Western family, and they've always been very happy and welcoming with her. In the past, she found it very tiring to stay over at their place, which was completely understandable. So before coming this time, I promised to try and make her feel more at home, eat at our own times, play our own music in the house, and not just the Turkish one, which is usually on there, go out much more, etc. Once we got there, it turned out that for her, it means another thing, which is never putting on a bra. We live by ourselves and she never wears a bra at home. When she goes out, she sometimes won't either, depending on the outfit and how visible it is. I've never had any issue with that before and always saw it as something that she should decide for herself, but now I found myself extremely uncomfortable with it. In previous visits to my family, she did wear bras. My parents, or neighbors, brother and sister, etc., never said a word about it, but I definitely noticed the glances and active attempts to avoid staring. It's not something that I've seen other women do around my family or while growing up, and it did attract their attention. I think bras are a stupid social convention, when not truly necessary, which is her case, but I know this isn't how my family sees it, and I didn't plan to spend this time with my family being an activist for my or her beliefs, just reconnecting a bit. A week into our stay, I told her it makes me a bit uncomfortable, in those words. She said I promised to try to feel more at home, that this doesn't fit with my principles, and that it makes her feel like I'm trying to be more Turkish when I'm with my parents. I apologized for making her feel like that, and told her some of what she says is true, but I could not stop it from making me uncomfortable. From there on, the rest of our stay was a bit of a wreck. She avoided my family as much as possible and shot angry glances at me whenever I suggested eating with them or going somewhere with them. I ended up ignoring her when I was with my family, thinking that I only have this week with them after 2 years, and who knows how long after. I knew it wasn't very nice towards her, and she probably felt very alone there, but thought we have a lifetime to deal with this after. She did not put on a bra at any point. I'm not really asking about ignoring her afterward. I think I'm probably the asshole in that case, but for the issue of me bringing up the bra situation to begin with, am I the asshole? Now in the comments, IcyGold596 says, "Not the asshole. It's just a week. You could do that for your partner. It's a very small ask. I hate wearing bras too, but when I go and stay with my husband's family, I wear it. It's no big deal." Yes, you could do that for a partner, and also just to show some basic respect to other cultures. I don't care what your rights are in your own country, you adopt the customs and codes of the place that you're in. I don't even think it's so much of a culture/Turkish thing. You're a guest. If it's not your parents' house or you don't know it's specifically the custom, wear your underwear. What does she mean by you being more Turkish? You are Turkish. She needs to understand that not everybody wants to see her titties all the time. She's being a bad guest. You don't go to someone else's house and demand they accept everything you do because you want to feel at home. Well, she's not at home, and she needs to respect that. Part of marrying someone from a different culture is learning how to respect that culture. She acted very childish and disrespectful towards your family and you, quite frankly. I'm all for free the titties, but there's a time and place for everything. Just because you've Americanized yourself doesn't mean the rest of your family should for her comfort. No assholes here. His wife be like, "I want to feel at home by making everyone else uncomfortable and not at home in their own home." And 1-800-TURD-FERGUSON says, "Yes, you're the asshole. You married a woman who isn't Turkish, yet you expect her to follow Turkish standards of modesty when visiting your family? You told her that she could feel like she was at home because prior visits were exhausting for her trying to conform to your family's norms. But you were only half sincere at that. This is a recipe to ensure she never agrees to visit your family again." And OP replies, "I think you strike a good point, but also that you've gone a bit far with Turkish standards of modesty. She wears a bra to work in our super liberal Californian town. She usually wears one when going out. Bras aren't a Turkish invention as far as I know. No, I haven't gone a bit far. Is she going to work when she's visiting your family? No, she's relaxing as she would do if she was in her own home. I walk around braless all the time in my own home. Crap, I walk around naked in my own home. I like to sleep with no pants on or even naked sometimes. When I visit my in-laws, I wear pajamas. I'll wear a bra or even a sports bra just as a courtesy. The fact of the matter is that she's not at home. There's a difference between making yourself feel more at home in someone's house and actually being at home. His wife is making people feel uncomfortable in their own home. It's a minor inconvenience to wear a bra when she's around them during the day. I just can't imagine not wearing a bra for a few hours a day in front of my husband's family being the hill that I was going to die on. Our next post is by user Life Bites, titled, "Am I the asshole for refusing to move because my 23 female polyamorous boyfriend, 31 male's wife, 31 female doesn't want another dog?" Just to start, we are all ethically non-monogamous. We all know about each other and mostly live in the same house together. I split time at my grandma's house because they live in an HOA and can't have more than one dog. That's all fine and good. I can't knock them for that. But now that they're looking to buy a house, since their landlord is selling the house they're currently in, I was excited to finally be able to move in full-time since I'll be able to bring my dog with us. Wrong. His wife doesn't want to have another dog in the house. She keeps telling him it's a boundary of hers to not have another dog in the house. I say that's bullcrap. It just gives her anxiety, which I completely get. But it's not a boundary, and it's an anxiety that can be worked through. I told him I will not be splitting my time when they move because the only reason I agreed to it in the first place was because it was temporary until they moved. and I absolutely refuse to abandon my dog. Am I the asshole? And edit for clarification, my boyfriend works full-time to pay for everything. She does not work and doesn't really contribute much in terms of being at home either. I have agreed to help with bills and payment of the house when I move in full-time. Edit number 2, her girlfriend will also be moving in with no issue. Granted, she doesn't have a pet. Edit number 3, he has reassured me that we practice non-hierarchical polyamory. This means that no one in the relationship holds a higher standing than anyone else, so she doesn't hold a higher status than me and vice versa. And edit number 4, I know the legal stance of this. I understand they're legally married. That is not what I'm asking about. They were married before becoming polyamorous. I'm asking about whether or not I stand my ground on not moving without my dog. Edit, would I be the asshole for standing my ground on this decision? I feel wronged because I only agreed to the current arrangement, granted he would be welcome when we moved somewhere that allowed more than one pet. I would not have moved in part-time without knowing that I'd be able to have him with all of us. Look, to be honest, this seems like a really messy situation, even though you're trying to make it sound like it's not a messy situation. In all honesty, given this arrangement, and if she is not okay with having the dog there but the husband is, unfortunately you need 2 yeses for situations like that. You will just have to come to a compromise, which will probably mean that you live in your own place and continue to be part-time between the 2 households. To me, that would be a fair solution to this, but if you continue to try and force your dog into this situation, I'm gonna say that you're the asshole. Now in the comments, Integranda says, ethical or not, it sounds like you 3 aren't on equal footing here. You are not a full contributor to the decisions in a relationship if the 3 of you haven't sat down together to discuss the situation with your dog and why it's important that your dog can come when you live together. What's happening is your boyfriend is speaking to his wife and you separately, and this wife is sending the message through him by the sounds of it. If this relationship is worthwhile, you at least deserve an equal say in this house move as your boyfriend and his wife. Naked Street says, you're the asshole. Obviously, you don't have to move anywhere. But if you don't think a person is allowed to have a boundary because something just gives them anxiety in their own home they are purchasing, you should not be in any relationship, much less a poly one. You don't have to live in this woman's house. She doesn't have to live with your dog. The thing is, they both knew that the only reason OP didn't move into the previous home is because she wanted to keep the dog and there were rules against it. If the dog moving in was always a deal breaker, they should have said that when they had the conversation about OP splitting her time so she wasn't leaving the dog. Since it's only being brought up now, it seems like the issue is not actually the dog, but rather that OP would be moving in if the dog was allowed. And back to the post, there's a final edit. I suggested to her that we all sit down to talk when I got to the house, and she blew up in my face, saying I'm being condescending to her traumas. All I said is that there are a few issues that we should all discuss in person since we'd all be there today. And now they're getting a divorce. So I've moved out of their current home since she doesn't want me there because I suggested a conversation. They will finish their lease out together in separate rooms while they figure out the divorce and such. My boyfriend and I will still be in our relationship since the only problems we've had has been about her. I'm living full-time at my grandma's house with my dog while this all happens. Thanks for all of your input. Our next post is by user Violated Love, titled, Am I the asshole for scoffing at my team lead for dress coding me? So I, 17 female, work for a property management firm under my team lead, Amy, 23 female. I typically am on the more conservative side of clothing when it comes to work. I wear sweaters in 90-degree heat, avoid jeans, and wear flats instead of heels. It's just what I happen to be comfortable in. However, my older coworker Maria, 22 female, enjoys wearing tube tops, cropped items, shirts with her bra showing, etc. Which is perfectly fine. I think most of her outfits are cute and I wish I had her style. This last week, I decided to wear a cropped sweater that just showed a little bit of my stomach. I didn't think it'd be a problem since my coworker was allowed to wear similar clothing items. I've never seen Maria be reprimanded, even though we technically have a dress code in place that goes against her attire. I sat down at my desk and got to work. Suddenly, my team lead comes over and asks me to change, stating my sweater wasn't appropriate for work. I got nervous and grabbed a hoodie out from under my desk, asking if it was okay to wear it instead. She said yes and walked away. I broke down crying and ran to the bathroom to throw a pity party for myself. I knew eventually I had to come out, and she saw me crying. Shortly after, she reprimanded Maria for wearing a similar cropped sweater. A few days go by, and Maria comes into work wearing her usual crop top and ripped jeans. She went that entire workday without Amy saying a single word to her about her clothes. I just recently bought a cute cropped polo shirt and said why not? I'm gonna wear it to work. And what do you know? Amy runs right up to my desk and asks me to change. I put on the most crap-eating grin that you've ever seen and told her no. She asks me why not? And I responded with, "Your discrimination against me is extremely unprofessional. You allow Maria to wear whatever she wants, why not me?" Amy goes on to say, "You're not even an adult yet." And I snapped back with, "And since when were you my mother?" She stumped away from me and went straight for my senior manager's office. I've had problems with Amy before for different reasons. This happened just this morning and I'm nervous I was in the wrong. And edit, I would like to clarify that I wouldn't have worn what I did if the rules were the same for everyone. I understand workplaces have a dress code, however, I'm just confused that if it's fair for my team lead to only reprimand me and not Maria. Am I the asshole? So your question is, are you the asshole for scoffing at your team lead for dress coding you? I don't particularly think you are. And yeah, I don't think it's fair that your team lead only reprimands you and not Maria. That is discrimination solely against you, and I would headcanon here that Maria is her friend and she doesn't view you as a friend, hence why she picks on you all the time, hence why she's going straight for senior management. She's just a terrible person, but I'm not sure, I don't think this is a battle that you win. At the end of the day, either everyone wears these clothes or they don't. It seems this is some drama that's gone too far, but my judgment is not the arsehole. Now in the comments, Booping Burrito says, "Not the arsehole. If corporate rules aren't enforced equally, then they can safely be ignored. If they try to track disciplinary action against you, her comment about your age could give you grounds to file a discrimination claim on the basis of ageism. If this is the US, there's no rule against discriminating against young people. Only old people are a protected class." Really? That's so crazy. I'm not in the US, so I just assumed you'd be doing the sensible thing and have age as a protected characteristic. Yeah, it's bizarre, but the protected class is people over 40. That's it. It's because that's who makes the laws these days. Not the arsehole. Good for you. Your manager is imposing an age-based standard on you. The rules have to be the same for everyone, or they are petty and show bias. I totally agree with this, but I think the better way to go about it would be to have feigned ignorance and asked her, or her boss frankly, to explain the nuance of the dress code, so you can understand how what Maria is wearing is in the code, but yours isn't. But given OP is only 17, I'd be very surprised if she took this route. Well, I'm going with not the arsehole from what you've said. If they have a dress code that doesn't work for you, you can find another workplace that does. I personally wouldn't work somewhere that has a dress code except no ripped jeans or crop tops. I personally couldn't work somewhere that requires formal suits, etc. because it wouldn't work for me. But she can't allow employee X to do something, then expect employee Y to be okay with being reprimanded for doing the same. Then making a comment about your age was extremely inappropriate too. I would discuss it with your senior manager. It should be a rule for everyone, not just for her favorites. No crop tops is pretty standard though. Maybe it's because most of my jobs have been working with children or professional office jobs, but I've never found it appropriate to wear a crop top to work. Being upset about not getting to wear a cute crop top to work is setting OP up for struggles in the working world in many fields. Boss may be trying to help OP with that, but has given up on Maria. Maria could also have a different role, such as less client-facing with a different dress code, because that also happens. And OP replies, "I agree, crop tops are never standard in an office workplace. I wouldn't have cared if the rules were enforced equally. I wouldn't even have worn it in the first place. Maria fills a more client-facing role than I do, and she's only been working at my office for an extra month than I have. I schedule out most of what she does, and she meets with prospective tenants to show the homes. We don't have an HR team. Our boss is very inexperienced. He's 24, and he's the CEO's son. So in this case, I decided to be spiteful instead of going above her. Anyway guys, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video. If you did like it, tell me what you thought about it down in the comments below, and make sure to just interact with everyone in this community. I love each and every one of you that I get to see on a daily basis. And don't forget, if you are a Patreon subscriber, I love you. You're on the screen right now with the YouTube members as well. If you see yourself, give yourself a pat in the back. You guys help me continue this YouTube journey. You keep me going. I see you guys everywhere. I see your messages, and thank you so much for supporting me. I really love every single one of you. But with that all said, I'm going to be signing off now, guys. I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.